If you have big stacks of 12 by 12 paper like this and you want to use it up and you want to do that quickly, I think you're in the right place. 2 weeks ago, I started a Facebook group. It is called Craft with Dawn Lewis, and we are all there to encourage each other as we use more of our crafting supplies in 2026. I asked in the group and all over my socials, what is the one supply that you want to use more of this year? Overwhelmingly, the top answer was pattern paper. Hence today's video on the fastest way to use it. And if you're wondering if this is all the 12 by 12 paper I have, you would be wrong. I have loads more. I'm just not strong enough to hold it all at once. This card making method isn't the most efficient, as in I'll get as many cards as possible from this one sheet of paper. It's more like, how can I use this one sheet of paper as quickly as possible? And I want to say up front, this is more of a method than a template. A template would mean specific measurements, but because we all work with different sized card bases, depending which country you are in, and the fact that not all 12 by 12s actually measure 12 inches square, some of them aren't even square, it is going to depend, but the method should see you through. When we're done, we'll end up with 6 cards and 3 pieces of paper, but we'll talk about them a little bit later. Let's get started. To start with, we need to measure our 12 by 12 paper. A lot of papers have like a strip with information or a contrasting color. Trim that off before you measure, but don't throw it away because we can use this later. Get an exact measurement of the longest edge of your 12 by 12 paper because we are going to divide it by 3 and then cut it into 3 long strips. It is okay if they're not all exactly to the millimeter exact. However, if you spend the time getting it right here, it will save you time in the next step. Place one of the strips of pattern paper onto your card base, and what we're looking for is an even border from the left over the top and down the right. Hold that piece of paper steady and mark with a little fold, a crease or a pencil mark where the equivalent border would be at the bottom of the pattern paper. Place the paper into your trimmer and cut to size. So that I don't have to place the strip onto a card panel and mark it every single time, I have just placed a post-it note bumped up to the edge of the correctly marked piece of patterned paper. Oh, try saying that 5 times fast. And now I can just cut it to size, pop another strip in, bump it up to the edge of the post-it note and continue to cut. From this cutting method, you will end up with 6 panels and 3 strips of patterned paper. You can use liquid glue or double-sided tape to apply adhesive to the back of your patterned paper, center it on your card base, and then repeat these steps for all 6 cards. I'm making Easter cards, so I've stamped and coloured these little rabbits by Mama Elephant. Some are fussy cut, the rest are left as they are. I'm also going to add some coloured cardstock, and to do that I'm not using proper measurements, I'm eyeballing it. This is a scrap that I've pulled from my stash. I've measured how tall it needs to be. Because I know that they're all the same, I'm just going to hold it up next to it, move it across, trim the next one, move it across, trim the next one. I am left with one piece that's slightly smaller, but that will work for one of the fussy cut bunnies. The feature images fit really well onto the orange cardstock, and while both look great on the card, I actually prefer the one that still has the white around it. Because the orange mat doesn't really stand out against that polka dot paper, I'm adding some white cardstock behind all of these mats just to give it that extra bit of oomph. I also remembered to do my New Year's resolution, which is to grab an old business card. I'm writing down the name of the set and the year, and I will put a check mark next to it every time I use this stamp set in 2026. Next, I'm tackling my sentiments. I'm using All Occasions Sentiments by Darkroom Door. I stamped some in black, some in orange, just to mix it up a little bit. And again, I'm eyeballing mats that I can cut to make those sentiments stand out. Now I have all of the ingredients to make my cards. I can start pairing them up and decide which sentiments go with which of the feature images and decide what orientation I'm going to organize them in. They can be done as portrait cards. You can keep the sentiment close to or move it further away from the feature image, or you could do it as a landscape card. For all of these though, I think I'm going to stick to portrait. At this point, I could have left the cards as is, but between my cardstock scraps and my embellishment box, I was able to step the cards up a little bit. Let me show you. I kept the first one quite plain. Then for this I added cardstock from my scraps. This one I added a little bit of tulle, a paper doily for this. This has some mini tags that have been stamped, and for this I went ham with paper flowers and buttons and embellishments. You might be wondering, hey Dawn, what about those 3 pieces of pattern paper you said we'd talk about later? Don't worry, I didn't forget. If you're only doing this with 1 piece of pattern paper, you're done making cards, you don't want any extras, you can add it to the inside of the card for a nice pop of colour. If you are making more cards, especially from a coordinating paper pad, then you can gather all of the strips and start layering them down the side of the card. They can be a little bit cattywampus, or you could have them as a nice neat strip down the middle. The alternative is to add them to your scrap stash, but this year we're using it often and we're using it all. I actually plan on making some extra cards with coordinating papers, so I'm going to be saving these and then doing the strip border, and I think from another 2 sheets of paper I will probably get an extra 2 cards. Yes, there are more economical ways that you can use your pattern paper. You can get more cards, and I will be making more videos that show you how to do that. But sometimes you know the piece of paper I'm talking about when I say that for the last 10, 15, 20 years, every time you flip through your paper pad or your pattern paper stack, you go past it and you go, I don't like that anymore. You can't bring yourself to throw it in the bin because it's still a good piece of paper. This is what you can do with it. Look, I don't send Easter cards, so I don't actually have any personal use for these, but I do volunteer with Homemade Cards for Seniors Australia. And right now we are making Easter cards to be distributed to aged care facilities and via Meals on Wheels to senior citizens all over the country. So I've had fun card making. I've used a piece of paper that I would never put in a scrapbooking album. I made a teeny tiny dent in my white embellishment box. And now I have 6 cards that I can donate to my local aged care facility and put a smile on the face of an Australian senior. And that feels pretty good. If you're an Australian card maker and you want to learn more about Homemade Cards for Seniors Australia, you can head to dawnlewis.com.au and click the tab that says Cards for Seniors. I hope you enjoyed this video, and no matter where you are in the world, I hope you will jump on over to Facebook and join the Craft with Dawn Lewis group. In the meantime, happy crafting, and I will see you next time.